Hello, I'm Eric Russell. I was a volunteer with the Enfield Municipal Facilities Committee, and today I'm visiting Sunapee, New Hampshire, where they have a very similar emergency services building comparable to the one that is being proposed to be built in Enfield. And I'm happy to be here with Chief Cahill, who's graciously providing us with a tour today. Thank you for having us, Chief.
Thank you very much. Come on in and we'll start in the lobby. These doors that we just entered through, the red doors, those, because we're not a 24-hour department, we go home, depending on the time of year, between 2 or 3 in the morning. These red doors are constantly unlocked and left open, so this small area here is available for somebody who may be in need or needs something. The AED is out here if somebody's having a medical emergency, and there is a phone box on the outside that when they push the button, it rings right to our dispatch center, so there's communication, and this is more of a shelter until we can get them what they really need for help. These, during the construction phase, this whole silver section of the doors and glass that you see, this is a level of fortification. They're bulletproof and bullet resistant, the locks, the door handles, the glass, everything. This is what we had. Moving the project forward after this was installed, the company came forward and said they have some Kevlar, which is bullet resistant, which is the same as our bulletproof vest. And so as we walk into the lobby, from the fireman's window all the way down, that whole side of that wall is also bullet resistant and Kevlar, and so are the glass that we talked to.
Yeah, and so that's for the general safety of the police department, the fire department, and...
Yeah, because we deal with dangerous people, and people have come into lobbies of police stations across the state and the country, and you can never predict what's going to happen. And so for our safety, these were measures that the community felt was important. And I would point out that when we built this, it was a community group that was established and put together and came up with the plans and the development of this building.
Yeah, that sounds very similar to the group that got together in Enfield.
On the side over there is our training room. So if we were to host a training or somebody were to use that training room, they could also utilize the bathrooms here and not have to use the interior bathrooms at the fire or police station.
So this training room is available for public groups to meet? And
we have criteria to be able to use it, but yeah, for the most part, that training room is readily available. The biggest part, obviously, is the fire and police being able to use that for in-house training and stuff. But being as large as it is, we're able to host trainings and bring other departments together, train together, the fire and police. I think the fire staff is about 48, and we're at about 12 for our police side. So you'll see there's cameras throughout the building. There's one camera system throughout the whole building that we have downstairs in our computer room. So this door here is the main door to get into the police station. So if you came in and was delivering something or meeting with an officer, most likely you'd use this door here. If you came in and were complaining about an incident or an issue or wanted to make a report, we would bring you in this conference room. So the reason we built this room off of the lobby was so that if you came in and wanted to talk about a dog complaint, your neighbor's dog is barking and keeping you up, we could bring you in here, remove you from the lobby, and in the event that neighbor maybe wanted to show up and make complaints too, it's an opportunity to separate both people so there's no argument in the lobby and stuff, and it's separate than going into the police side.
Yeah. So this lobby really seems very functional. You can talk to a staff member, you can go into the fire department, use the bathrooms, the training room, or conference room. You've really got access to a lot of different spaces all from this lobby. Yes,
the person, each window obviously has persons behind them to assist with whatever the needs are of the person that comes in the lobby. So this is the conference room. It's probably utilized for many different things, as I told you before. I don't have a kitchenette. I don't have a place for officers to sit, eat, and have a break and stuff. So they use this room here if it's not being used. They'll eat their lunches, their dinners in here and stuff. Opportunity to bring people in, talk to people if they're making complaints, being able to take reports from people if they're victims of thefts and those kinds of things. And so this really is a kind of a utility room used for many different things, but it also allows us to separate them, and we're not doing this kind of questioning in the lobby. Somebody else comes in looking for something else, and now they're feeling funny that maybe they're the victim of something, and now they have to talk about it in front of somebody else. So this way here we're able to bring them in, isolate them, sit them down, and make them feel comfortable and take a report from them.
the main part of the police.
Yeah. So this door here, right behind you, is actually the door from the lobby that we were just talking about. So if you entered from the lobby into the main police station, this is the section that you would come into. The first room here is the patrol room. So this is where all really the functions of the police department operate right in here. Those are not computers, they're terminals. We have one main system for our computer system. So those are all terminals, but this has everything in here. They're telephones. We do have a computer here, which are body-worn cameras. We have a cabinet over here with all the paperwork. Everything the officers need to function and perform their duty functions every day is in this room here. They would come in, do their reports here, make phone calls here. So this is really the where everything takes place for the patrol part of what happens here.
And approximately how many officers work out of this space?
So like I said, there's 12 of us here, but mostly at a time there may be 2 to 3 officers working a shift together. Okay. It varies during the summer because that's our busy season. But. Hallway from the patrol room. This is my office, the chief's office. In that side. This door here is the employee door, so there's parking that separates parking from the police and the general public. So parking out back there is where the employees park. They enter through here. As you can see, there's raincoats and cabinets for other equipment and stuff like that. This room here is fairly unique as well. This is the supervisor's office right here. There is a special shade that's been built for the window, so it lets zero sunlight in. And the reason for that is because this is also used as the interview room. Right behind you is the one-way glass. And Josh, can you just open that door and turn the lights on? So you can see in there is the interview room. That's where we do all of our suspect interview and interrogation. The reason we connected this to an office is that often at times we may be working with other departments in prosecution and our county attorney's office, so the office would be big enough for people to sit and view that and give us some suggestions on dictating how the interview goes. So this room kind of functions both as an office but also as the viewing portion to the interview room.
So it sounds like a lot of the design elements really encourage collaboration with other departments and other law enforcement agencies?
Yes, so we provide our electronic security key cards to other departments. One is if we have a problem or an issue within the building, we want people to be able to access it and help us. And two is, like for instance, last week the Newbury Police Department made an arrest and was unable to process it at their location. They came out here and was able to process them here. We all work very well together in our area and stuff, and we often collaborate with local law enforcement and fire departments. This is the Executive Administrator's office. Essentially, the business portion of the police department all happens within here. We don't dispatch for ourselves, we dispatch through New London, but we do have a base radio. If there were an issue or a problem, we could dispatch for our fire and police right out of this building here. We can also communicate with our dispatch center as well. It's kind of a two-position. We have a computer over here, and then the administrative assistants have his there. So this is the other side of that office. We built it large enough because when we built this building in 2006, between us and the architects, we believed that we were building a building that would last us 50 years. So having this building, this room built as big as it is with two positions, we feel that's the growth. Maybe perhaps at some point a dispatcher may be working, and the administrative assistant as well would be working. So it had to be big enough to be able to accommodate those in the future. This is the interview room, the other side of the supervisor's office. Up in the corner there, those are cameras and microphones. They're really not smoke and fire detectors up there, but they're least intrusive when we're interviewing people and talking to people. And this is right off of our booking room section. The booking room out to the garage is all radiant heat with inside of it, so these are all concrete floors, and they all have radiant heat in them. These are our jail cells, if you want to go in and take a look. When we built the jail cells, the walls are a larger construction. They're a 2x8, I believe they are, and they're a special concrete wall board. The threshold that we had to build these at was a juvenile has to be sight and sound separation from an adult prisoner. So when we built these are built to say if somebody was on the other side and that person's a juvenile and is an adult in here, they can't communicate back and forth. They're insulated and soundproofed, so we're able to meet the federal and state requirements of sight and sound separation from our juvenile offenders to our adult offenders. One-piece toilet and sink, everything works. On the outside of this in here, we flush the toilet, and we flush the toilet for many reasons. One is we don't want them flushing contraband if we've missed something during a search. Everybody search before they come in here, but we recognize sometimes we could not see something. So we don't want them flushing contraband. And we've had people that have removed their socks or their underwear, jam the plumbing and try to flood the place. So by us being able to do it, it reduces the amount of damage and that kind of stuff in the future. The beds are bolted and secured to the floors and the walls. There are cameras up in here. The lighting and any fixture in here is consistent with a detention center, so like a county jail facility, so that people aren't going to hang themselves or injure themselves, and the other reason the ceilings are so high. The reason we have this little area out here, if we had to, depending on what the incident was, we could shut this door here and lock it and secure it, and now we could also use this small area as another detention area, depending on how many prisoners we have. One of the challenges here was this cage is something new that we just added, probably about 7 or 8 years after it was built. We would process somebody would come into the lobby, want to pick them up, or paperwork would be faxed or sent over to the fax machine. Officers would get up and leave the room, oftentimes leaving the prisoner unattended. So we had a cage built so that now if somebody leaves the room, the prisoner is secured in a cage that they're not going to be wandering around.
Yeah, and so a lot of the design of this is largely based on the regulations and... Regulations,
state law, safety, security of the officer and of the prisoner. I mean, I believe our prisoners and our people that come in here should be afforded every opportunity to be safe as well. There are 2 cameras here. One is our main system. The other camera goes to our dispatch center. So if they know we're processing a prisoner, they can activate the camera within their dispatch center and they can watch what's happening, and if there's any other issues or anything, they could send help over to the officer. This is the garage, and we large enough in the middle of a winter time, if we were to have an ice storm or whatever, we can comfortably fit 3 full-size patrol cars in here. We have 4 total. We could fit 3 in here, keep them out. Like I said, this is all heated in the floor. So the garage we feel is big enough. All the switches, as you saw in the executive assistant's office, there's a line of switches across. Those switches run every door in the building. So if there's a fire call or the police or somebody forgets to close the doors, Josh could watch what's going on and shut the doors behind them to keep the heat in the building. Every car has a remote switch for those there. We talked about how long it's built for. So the plan here for the 50-year plan was, as you can see, this is a wood frame structure around the doors to the concrete. The idea is we would knock this wall down, and this would become more bays for the fire department. So they've had 2 more large bays to do their drive-through. That abuts the fire department, so we've knocked down that wall, and that would house them and give them their future growth. And with that, the plan was just outside here, right up to those compressing units in that tree, down to the chinned-in area that would be a garage that would be built, and a cement hallway would be entering this door right to our booking room door, and that would be our growth as our garage, but then move outside to accommodate the growth of the fire department.
Okay. And how's the in-floor heating worked? Do people like that?
So we love it. It's great. Like I said to you before, we have a buildings facilities manager. He adjusts everything based on the season, everything on problems. He has all the scheduling for all the updates, all the maintenance records, everything needs to be done. So he's handling all that as the police chief. I'm not handling when the compressors need to be done and fixed, and the fuel furnace needs to be fixed and everything, or clean. That's on a schedule that he handles and he manages. And as I said to you before, I credit the condition of this building, which is now 17 years old or something. I credit that to his being able to manage and take care of our building for us.
So having a maintenance person on staff has really been critical to keeping the building in good shape.
Yep, we call them. One thing we just did now is these floors need to be done. They've been done once already since we've had the building. You can see the cracks in the floors and stuff. I think those are just what happens. He scheduled somebody to come down, take a look at it, filed a quote for it. We have a yearly budget for buildings and grounds for all town buildings. It goes on the list, and now we know when we're going to get our floors fixed and keep up with that. And maintenance of this building has been key to keep it in great shape. Anything else you want to talk about up here or anything?
And so much stuff that we used to arrest when we were working patrol would be a full custody arrest. Now it's just a citation to appear in court, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it works out well.
Don't get me going on the legislature.
Yeah. I guess we want to know that too.
Yeah. So I believe one of the things that we or I missed during the building of the building is a kitchenette, a place for the police officers to have a break. So as a result of that, we've built cabinets. We hold paper, but we have a coffee machine, a microwave, and on that side over there is the small refrigerator and stuff. All these things are better served, I think, in a room where there's a table and people can sit and have a break and bring their lunches in and water and stuff like that. It works because of how busy we are or are not. It seems to work for us. But as I look at it, I'm kind of a tidy, neat kind of thing. Everything has its place. And I feel like that's probably something that we really missed, was having a break room where guys could go sit and have a break. So
yeah, as the kitchenette, and then using the conference room to take breaks in.
Take breaks, yeah. So it's really, if somebody's in there, you find someplace else. And for me, it's having crumbs all over the place and just being neat where they belong and cleaning stuff up. I do have a cleaner, comes in 3 days a week, vacuums the apartment, as you'll see their room behind their window, which is where their administrator would sit. It's a smaller room, but the wall that's in between these two offices was built to be removed. So if there was future growth of a dispatcher of our own, we could blow that wall out and we could have more space to be able to manage and be able to have an operation of a dispatch center. Downstairs in the basement of the safety service building, one thing to say is when we built the building, we needed to identify for both departments where their expectation of use of space was, as well as where is your future growth, so that it wasn't fighting and arguing over who's going to get what and get this. So when we built the building, the fire department had the second floor, it was all theirs, and the police department had the basement, and this was all ours. Probably about 70% of the building, or 80% of the basement was finished off when we moved into the building. There was about 1,000, maybe a little bit more square feet of extra space, so there was just kind of a wall there and we could use whatever we needed to use for the future. Downstairs we have our locker rooms. This is a men's locker room. Yeah, that's a heated towel rack that we have over there. Around the corner is 2 showers. Everyone gets their own locker. So this was not here when we moved in. This is a room that we built around 2006, 2007. we contracted with an attorney to be our prosecutor, and this was the attorney's office down here. We've since moved away from that, and one of our police officers is the prosecutor. This is his office. This is where he does all of his work and the prosecution. So that was added on since we got here.
So you said you had about 1,000 square feet available for expansion. How much of that have you used in the last 17 years?
So we've probably used close to 600 to 800 square feet. I'll show you what's left in there, and I can show you the rooms that we added on. Ladies' locker room, which is very similar, mirrors the men's locker room. This is our armory. We have a bench for work and cleaning the guns and everything, lockers to be able to lock and secure, shelves to be able to house our ammunition and targets and everything that we need for the range. So essentially that's all this does, is just houses all the department's firearms and ammunition.
Does this room have any special walls, or is there anything special?
Nothing special about the walls here. I will tell you that the ceiling to the downstairs is a 3-inch concrete with a waffle steel floor. So that's what's supporting this above us. This room was also an addition after we built the building. We call this our library. If you want to go in and take a look. So the computer there with the camera, this is where we do all of our court hearings. So we can do motor vehicle hearings, and we can do mostly any hearing as long as both parties agree to it. So we're reducing our travel, we're reducing the time that people are, probably reducing our overtime and stuff, but being able to come here to the station, testify, do what we need to do, and do it all over the internet. And as I said to you before, that technology probably wasn't here when we built the building, but as we move forward, having the extra space allowed us to grow and move with our technology opportunities as well. And other departments come here and use this as well, so that they don't have to travel to Concord or other places for hearings.
That's great to hear, that even just having a little bit of space available lets you adapt to the technology as it developed, and you're actually probably saving some money on travel and the time it takes to
Yeah, I mean, if an officer's got an 11 o'clock hearing and he's supposed to be in Concord, but he's supposed to be on shift at 3, I got to worry about not only him being there, but I got to worry that who's going to fill in for his shift when he gets, is he going to be back in time, is he not going to be in time, price of gas right now, and those kinds of things. So I think there's a savings to all of that. The room is large enough to have, 2 or 3 witnesses in here, plus the prosecutor to be able to go at it, and it's been very positive for us and other departments who have used the room as well. Bill, this is just a records room. The important part about the records room is the law says that we have to keep certain records for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, forever. So arrest records have to be kept forever. So there's 10 file cabinets. So every year at the end, we take the one that's 10 years old, that gets thrown into a box we call the shredding truck. The shredding truck shows up. And so we're only keeping 10 years of records because we know we're housing everything by statute. We know we're meeting all the requirements of the statute and stuff by keeping records for 10 years. Our arrest records we have to keep forever. So that's how we set this up. And again, this has just been put together since we've been here to be able to accommodate our records and stuff. I don't think storage, I don't believe, is an issue at all. Closets, those kinds of things, I don't think any of that stuff is an issue. This is our evidence room. There are, shut that door for me. So if I had a piece of evidence, I'd come in, I'd put it in there, I'd lock it, take the key out of it, I'd take the key, throw it in the drop. On the back side there's a bucket. Now that officer has no contact with it. There's only 3 people that have access to the evidence room. The lock is monitored by a computer system, so I know every time somebody's using it, who's using it, and the time. This is the property room. This is where all the property is brought in, housed, placed on a shelf. The property officer logs it in, goes into the report, puts where it is. Now on that report I can bring it up and I can see that the baseball bat that was used in destroying the mailbox is on shelf B, number 11, so I can go right there, get the bat, and I know where the property is. And it's just really just a lot of organization. It's plenty of room in here, I believe. I'm very good about getting on the prosecutor to make sure that, you know, when the case is done and over with, let's get rid of stuff. I don't want to house anything in here that we don't need to house in here, and let's just get stuff out. So these are all active cases that we have. Janitor's closet. This is just all the phone lines. And this is the room for public service. So this is our exercise room. This was a room that was not finished when we built the building. This is a room that the police association took on themselves as a project. They paid for the carpeting and the sheetrock and the ceiling. One thing that we did, if you have any future growth or future space that you're going to need any kind of fire suppression in, I would tell you to pipe it in while you're building the building. Mm-hmm. It's $900 a head to do it afterwards. Mm-hmm. Ask me how I know that. So I would say to you, if you have rooms, even if it's not going to be completed and you say this is going to be future growth, mm-hmm. they should be dropping, you could get those dropped down in and put them there for now, so that when you want to do it later, that's less of an expense that you had to do. This is probably, time goes by, but 8 or 10 years ago that we did this, maybe even a little bit longer than that we've done this room. That closet, we have a very active police association. That's their closet. They keep their equipment, their belongings, their paperwork, their stuff in there. This here, I don't like the price of uniforms. They're very expensive. So I dry clean every uniform and I hang them here, and if we hire somebody, this is the first place they'll go, see if they got any clothing that fits them. If not, then I don't mind buying clothing for people, but I try to reuse as much as I can.
What are some of the benefits and the reasons for having the exercise room available?
Well, as you know, police officers have to maintain a physical fitness test every 3 years for their certification. So this promotes, I think, obviously good health. It promotes teamwork. Guys are down here working out together. The fire department also uses this room as well. So it's not uncommon to come down here and find, you know, a group of 3 or 4 people working together and working as a team, doing exercise and stuff.
So this is a storage room.
So this room represents what I have left for future growth. Probably 300 or 400 square feet maybe. But I will say that the tables belong to the library, the books of the library, so it's kind of a catch-all for different departments that if I'm not using the space, that they can come in and use it as well. The fire department, all their logs are all left in here and stuff, so it's kind of a shared storage space for everybody, and it seems to work. There are no issues. Any of our spare equipment and stuff like that we keep in here, try to go through it as often as we can to get rid of stuff that we're not using or haven't used in a while. Mm-hmm. So, but this is, yeah, the storage room for everything. So this used to be our storage room, so all the stuff you saw in that other room was all in here, was up on the shelves and everything. With COVID and with everything else that happened, this now is for the emergency management director. Both him and the assistant management director work out of this office here. We gave them the space. They're able to house everything that we can get for equipment and stuff, COVID-related stuff, up on the shelves. It's caused us to have more meetings, caused us to be more intentional on what we're purchasing, what we're saving, what we're housing for the future, not just for COVID, but for other catastrophes and things that can happen in town. So this is their office and where they run out of. Anything for the, that's it for the police department? Is there anything that you want me to talk about specifically, or anything that I might have missed? Any questions?
This has been fantastic to just see what Sunapee's done, and it sounds like you've done a really great job of creating a flexible space that can be adapted for the future.
Right, and that was the big thing, was trying to plan for, not knowing what we're looking at, but try to plan for something for the future, try to plan to have something so that right when we move in, we're not occupying each and every piece of square inch or square foot that we have, but the ability to, like I said, that library that we have is a clear sign of growing with our technology and being able to use that. If we didn't have that space, we would probably be in the patrol room with a camera there, and it'd be hard to hold a court hearing there with the patrolman in and out answering phones and the phones ringing and stuff. So being able to have some space that we can grow with technology was a big hit for us. So now we're entering the fire department side. So this is the fire department. All the floor is radiant heat within this side here. They do have 2 fire stations. They have this station, and they have one in the Georges Mills Village. The one in the Georges Mills Village, I think, holds maybe 1 or 2 pieces of that. So it's not a very big facility. It's not a newer facility. It's an older facility. Drains in the floors, idle vent exhaust system in the ceilings. Being able to do those, the fire suppression. And again, that wall there is the police garage on the other side of that wall.
Should be a nice close-up of that exhaust system. And the fact that they're extracting not sitting in the office.
One thing we did is we reused our old police cars. So when we got rid of our police cars 2 years ago, one came here to the fire department, one went to water and sewer. But being able to have the room to store everything in here, and again, being able to wash everything, have all their storage for all their equipment and stuff. The generator itself is on the outside of the building in that far corner out there. Behind this coat rack here on that side is all storage for their equipment and stuff, all their clothing, uniforms, everything they need is down in that office. Behind those doors there is storage of flammables, their gasolines, and those kinds of things. Other than that, I don't know that this, I mean, what you see is what you get.
I see our fire department is not the only one. That's all the cool for it.
Let's take a look at it and make sure stuff fits.
No,
So
the racks are amazing compared to the turnout gear.
Yes.
Racks.
Yeah.
And having, like I said, just they have the wash area that they don't have to have.
Yep.
When they come back from a call, they're not tracking it through the entire station there.
Yeah. And then those doors there are the men's locker room and the ladies' locker room. So you have their locker rooms on either side there.
Here is this section of the building where all these vehicles are parked completely separate from a ventilation standpoint from the rest of the building?
Yes, with the exception of the heat.
Okay.
The radiant heat, the ventilation and everything, yes. In our garage, there was a system where there's a fan in the corner. If the gas fumes got too much, it automatically turned on and extracted the fumes out of our garage and fixed it out there. That's different. I think they've got 1 or 2 here, but other than that, all these systems here are all separate from the building.
So any contaminants that the fire department, firefighters were coming back with would be contained?
Sterile. The rest of the building sterile, contained everything in here. And again, as you can see, they do a very good job with the cleaning. The cleaning person that comes in on our side also cleans over here, so the whole building itself is being cleaned 3 days a week. We just bought new tables for our training room downstairs. So we sent these up here. This used to be some desk space and everything. And so we opened it up so that now Fire EMS needs a second training room. We can use it. They need it. Often at times, the one in hospital call over and go, hey, can we use your training room? We want to meet with, there's probably 20, they run 4 or 5 ambulances, so there's probably 20, 25 staff members. So they'll come up here and they can use this now without having to look at our schedule to be able to hold their own trainings and certifications. The elevator comes all the way up here as well. There's heat, and this is it. So this was the anticipated future growth for the fire department to live in. If in 50 years there was a full-time staff, there would be beds and bunks and everything else set up in there for them. As it is, they just have kind of like a temporary shelter over there.
So this second floor is really expansion space for the fire department.
This is all the fire department.
And currently serving well as a meeting room that gets a lot of use
Yes.
for both departments and other departments in town?
Yes. Yep, and primarily right now, because of our makeup, it's occupied by the ambulance service for a place for them to do their work, access, answer phones, be able to hold their own trainings and stuff. So it's worked out very well that way as well.
Yeah, and you were telling us that Sunapee contracts with New London for the ambulance service.
Yes.
So you don't have your own ambulance service,
Right.
but they are housed here.
Yes, that first little truck down there that we were standing in behind is Rescue 7, and that is their medical truck. So any medical calls or EMT calls that Sunapee Fire has, that's the truck that they take with them. But like I said, with the ambulance service here, you know, we have an ambulance on scene with advanced life support a lot quicker than having it out of the hospital or someplace else. Come on in here. So this is the kitchen, and it abuts our training room, kind of like a serving desk and stuff like that we have here. One of the reasons we have it is we hold regional training classes for police and fire and EMS, so we're able to hold just about 25 people within our training room. We could fit more people if we don't have the tables, but if we're having tables, it's about 25 is comfortable. All the audio visual that goes up in there, the cameras up in the ceiling automatically connects to our computers, so we can do a presentation on the whiteboard on the wall. The stove and everything is like really a commercial grade stove, but the reason we built it like this, and this is here since the building's been here, is our library has a community event, the pancake breakfast. And so in order to do that and get hundreds of people to turn out for that fundraiser, this is what stove would have been adequate for that. So we do share that with the library, and that they are able to use this. They move all the fire trucks out, they set all the tables and chairs up in there, people come in and get the breakfast, and people are in here cooking and stuff. So it's really not just the fire, not just the police, but a lot of the town departments come in and use it as well. So even though I say that we didn't have a kitchenette in the police side, we could come over here and use this if we had to, but in my opinion, this is just not adequate to have a quick break. It'd rather be right where the officers are working in their environment. So that's the training room. So this is the training room, as I said, comfortably with tables and stuff. It's about 25 people that are here. The double doors over in that corner over there is a large storage space, stores every table and chair if we want to into there, so we can empty it out. There's spare tables and chairs over there as well. This is a closet here, holds paper plates, utensils, and those kinds of things on racks. We've held spaghetti fundraisers and stuff here, so we hold all kinds of pots and pans in there as well. But this is the room that's used for police, for the fire, EMS, for the community, and other departments can use this. We hold a lot of events in here as well, and it serves us very well. It serves the entire town, not just the two departments. And so we can give people a card pass to come in after hours and be able only to access this here, maintaining our security on the other side of the building because of the stuff that we house in those other areas. So
this room is really available to all of the town government and along with other groups within town.
Yes.
That's great.
Yep. Yep, able to use it and have people come in for it and stuff and be able to use it. Somebody may call and, you know, I'm trying to do an interview, but I got something going on at the library. Can I use it here to do an interview for either a new applicant or to do a review for somebody or something? And so they'll come in and use it. It's just a quick place to have a meeting and stuff. But yeah, it's used a lot for that.
Excellent.
So this is the Fireman's communications room, and this is Clay. He's the houseman for the day. This is the town of Enfield. They're looking at building a safety service building, so they just come down to videotape and photograph some of the goods and bads that we have and see how it fits for them.
Good idea.
So on the other side of that wall there, that's the wall I was telling you about that could be removed, and that would combine our executive assistant's room and this room and make it larger if we were to make a regional dispatch or have our own dispatch. And that was the contemplation for where are we in 50 years and is that going to be big enough for us? So the roof, so anything in that wall is built to be removed and have that as an expansion. then this is it. This is the lobby, and this is right where we started. I don't think I have anything else to add. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer the questions or anything. I can't think of anything that pointed out. But this is it.
Well, thank you, Chief. This has been fantastic. I really appreciate you taking the time to show us around the Sunapee Emergency Facility, and I think it'll help people envision what could happen in Enfield. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.